So Parasha Ki Tisa, we know, is known mostly for its. Hey, how you doing? Long time no see.
I know. I told everybody I bumped into in the
Yeah.
Walgreens.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, I could have asked me you what.
okay, so the parasha begins with Ki Tisa's Rosh B'nai Yisrael, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu says that the Torah says that each person had to give a machzah shekel, a half coin, to the truma to Hashem, the donation to Hashem. And then we have the parasha of the Chet Egel, so the golden calf. And many Mefarshim commentaries connect the two and say that the giving of the half a coin was supposed to be a kapara, an atonement for the sin of the golden calf. The question is, where's the connection? What's the connection between the sin of the golden calf and giving machzah shekel, half a coin? So the obvious question that everybody asks is, how could Bnei Yisrael so quickly fall? From HaKadosh Baruch Hu taking them out of Mitzrayim, so many miracles, and boom. I know we live in a generation now of what have you done for me lately, so we forget what happened yesterday, but presumably that's not something that always was the case. And how could it be that Bnei Yisrael so quickly, gave up on everything? So there are many explanations, and we'll go through a few of them. But one more basic one is like this. Even today you see psychologically people who feel abandoned, or they have certain fears. They develop such neuroses, such issues. Today people all have all these abandonment issues, and it really plays out. If, let's say, a parent abandons them, whatever, you see all these different things that play out over life, and it scars a person. Well, Bnei Yisrael were abandoned, or they felt abandoned. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't show up when he was supposed to show up, and they were very afraid. So it's not surprising that there's some anxiety issues going on over here. But it really started out with a number of people panicking. But panicking gets contagious. When somebody panics, then we all have inside of ourselves fears. We're afraid of things, but we somehow keep them in check or ignore them. But when somebody gets afraid about something, it brings up your fear. That's what happens. And maybe I should be afraid of this. Maybe I should be afraid of this, right? Because we don't know how sometimes to separate what fear we should be afraid of and not. And so it started becoming a frenzy. And the panic became a hysteria. And then it became a mass hysteria. And then it became a mob frenzy. And what do we know about mob frenzies? They suck everyone into that. So even if you're standing on the sideline, but there's a mob frenzy, you get just sucked into that vortex. You get...
That's the way the stock market works.
That's the way stock, right? Maybe, right? Exactly. So that's really what's going on over here, is that it's true. It was really just a handful or whatever, it's hundreds of people that really panicked, but they created a frenzy and it built and it built and it built, and it also started sucking people in. So that's what happens sometimes when we, the mob, mentality draws people in. And so therefore the antidote had to be, you always have to realize you're an individual too. You can't just get sucked in by the mob frenzy mentality. And so the kapara was that each individual Jew had to give a machzah shekel to emphasize the concept of individuality. That once you still have to be an individual. You can't just get sucked up. And we are, and naturally so, by the way. We naturally want to be, in the good graces of other people. So if that's the popular thing to do, we get sucked up to that as well. And so there's a natural thing, Ramam talks about it, that Adam nimshach achas v'voisa, we're very much influenced by our environment around us, and we want to be part of that environment, want to fit in, and all the different dynamics that take place. And so a person, the Torah says, no, machzah shekel. Each one has to give, each individual has to give. And today also, today especially, I think, there's this culture where, everyone's doing it, so I'm doing it too. And you see this phenomenon, and it happens with such rapid pace today, because the multimedia makes it happen so quickly. Facebook, was nowhere, and all of a sudden, everyone's on Facebook, right? And why? Because everyone's on Facebook, right? And I just speaking the other day to somebody, a very bright, intelligent professional, who says, Rabbi, I realized after 6 months, I was addicted. I was spending 2 hours a night on Facebook, and I realized I don't have that time. But I got sucked into it because everyone's getting sucked into that stuff. And we have to be careful, today, because there's a lot of mishigasin out there, crazy mishigasin out there. And now we know about every mishigas. It used to be, Was in Vegas, stayed in Vegas. It's not true anymore, right? Multimedia, it's all over the place. So when you hear about Michigas, 1,000 miles away, we hear that Michigas too. So we're pulled to that Michigas, and we have to be careful. You still have to maintain your individuality, and that gets sucked up into that mass mob mentality. That's what happened to Chet Egel. That's one explanation how each coin that was given by each person was an atonement for the Chet Egel. You had a question. I want you to say something. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's not only not being sucked up into the mass hysteria, but it's having the courage. It requires courage.
Absolutely.
It's not just a matter of standing back and watching everybody, but you have to have courage to resist.
Absolutely.
You have to have strength.
Strength, and you also have to remind yourself you're an individual. Because you have to kind of stand back and say, 1 second, I don't have to be dictated to by a mob. You have to kind of reinforce your mind, because part of us wants to be part of a group. But part of us has to make that individual.
We want to be accepted. We want to be
exactly
to resist going.
Right.
That's the difference between leaders and followers.
Right.
And
Exactly.
the leaders are few and far between.
That's absolutely right.
I'm sorry.
In fact, most leaders are followers. They just follow the polls. I'm serious. They're not leaders. They're followers. Actually, it's a Gemara. It's a Medrash. Fascinating Medrash. It says before Mashiach's times, it says, It says, Pnei Hador Pnei HaKelev, that the face of the generation will look like the face of a dog. What does that mean?
Psalm 198.
So you're good. So Rechana says a beautiful thing. I think it's what Rechana says. Incredible. So what does it mean? Incredible. He says, imagine a guy from Mars is coming in with his spacecraft and he's watching Earth from above. So he sees this human Earthling walking his dog, right? But he sees the dog yanking ahead, right? He's pulling. So he says, wow, look at this. Dogs are leading the humans, right? Because the dog is schlepping the human, right? Right? That's what it looks like. But every once in a while, what does the dog do? Looks around, see where the master wants him to go, and he goes in that direction. So that's precisely Pnei Hadar Pnei HaKelev. The face of the generation will be like the face of a dog. In the generation before Mashiach, the leaders, they look like they're leading because they're right ahead of us, but they keep looking back. Okay, where do you want me to go? Right? So they're not really leading, they're really following. You're absolutely right. Even the leaders today are followers. You're absolutely right.
Maybe that's what the secret of Trump's success. He knows what people want, he gives it to them.
Yeah.
Maybe it matters.
And then you have Obama on the other side that says he wants to lead from behind. Go figure that one out.
He's doing a good job of that.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Anyway, okay. So that's a problem. Okay, that's one thing. While we're on the Chet Egel, let's mention two more things about the Chet Egel. The other idea is like this. Rav Schwab, great Torah sage that passed away about 15 years ago, maybe a little more. I had the privilege of knowing him for many, many years because I ran a program in the summer and he was there every summer, actually before I ran it. But he once told me like this, that he was a very young rabbi in Germany. And one day he's giving a sermon, I think it was Shabbos, and they pulled him. The Nazis came in, stormtroopers came in, grabbed him and tossed him in prison. And they said that maybe they threatened they're going to kill him because he is a subversive. He said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you got up in the public and announced in public that the Jews don't need Hitler. He said, I never said that. He said, oh yeah, we have eyewitness accounts. You said the Jews don't need Hitler. Till he realized what happened. He was talking about, he was getting up and he was dashing on Parasha Ki Tisa. And he was talking about the sin of the Egel. What was the chet of the Egel? The chet of the Egel was that when Moshe disappeared, they said, we're done. We're finished. Who's going to be our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? They were looking for a middleman. That's what they're looking for. In German, the word for middleman is a mittler. He said the Jews don't need a mittler. And either somebody on purpose or not on purpose reported that he said the Jews don't need a Hitler. But he said the Jews don't need a mittler. Obviously, they don't need a Hitler either, obviously. But they don't need a mittler. Right? And that's where all the problem began. But what happened was the Jews were looking for a mittler. They were looking for a middle person. Now, it's understandable where they were coming from. The Jews are at somewhat of a disadvantage. We don't get to pray to a cross. We don't get to pray to any images. And as physical beings, we need that. It's easier to relate to something. How do you love something that's so abstract you can't see, right? You can't touch, you can't hear. It's a big challenge. Moshe Rabbeinu, I'll reinforce it. Moshe Rabbeinu, when he comes down, Hashem says, you better get down there, they're making a mess. He goes down, sees the Chet Egel, takes the luchos, smashes them. Now, why he smashed them then? When Hashem said they're making a mess, he could have smashed them right then and there. Why did he come down? Now, you could say for dramatic effect. It's probably true, partly. You want to show them how, you want to shock them a little bit. Right? Imagine if the rabbi in your shul is so upset with you, because you're doing you're eating tarfis, whatever you do in Chas Shalom, he takes Sefer Torah from the Aron and throws on the ground. He got your attention, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu got their attention, certainly, but it was much more than the dramatic effect. It's true that Hashem told Moshe, but you know what? We don't just understand things through what we read or a brain. All our senses are engaged in helping us evaluate and understand something. The fact that Hashem told Moshe, even though Moshe believed Hashem, 1,000%. But you know what? When you see something and you get your sense involved and you hear it and you taste it, you understand it much more. And so that's the human being. The human being needs to engage all their senses. And so we're somewhat at a disadvantage when we don't have a way to relate to Hashem, because we can't engage those senses, right? So, but Hashem says you can't have any graven images, so we can't have. But that's where they were desperate for some sort of physical connection. If it's not Moshe, it has to be an angel. But something, they desperately wanted something.
Wasn't he only a half a day late?
They must have been Yekis. They must have been Yekis. They were German. But you know what? Moshe Rabbeinu was good to his word. He said something. Yeah, he was only a day late. In fact, very good point. The Chazal say that they sinned b'chatzois hayoyim, at midday. Why do we need to know that? Interesting, we just mentioned that the atonement was the machzis hashekel. Interesting, again, where half comes in. What's going on over here? In fact, that machzis hashekel went to make the adonim. The adonim were the sockets that they put the crushim in, the pillars in. And if the Mishkan is supposed to be a remez, or symbolic, we talked about this, about the Torah and the human being, so the adonim are the foundations of the Mishkan. That's the bottom thing. What is the foundation of Yiddishkeit? Emunah, faith. And the adonim represent faith. Avodah Zarah isn't just when you bow down to an idol. Avodah Zarah is not thinking something through to its fullest conclusion. When you stop at a halfway convenient point, and you only see it's not wrong to say, Hashem, I can't see you, so let me bow down to your son because I appreciate your son. It's not really wrong, but it's only halfway there. It's called Avodah Zarah because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want us to bow to the son. But it's not. It's only seeing half the picture. Yes, there's a son, but who created the son? You stopped halfway. You're not wrong. You're just only halfway there. Often we make a mistake when we only see a half a picture. We make the judgment based on half the picture. It's interesting that even something that's everything has the proper time. When you do something prematurely, even though it seems like it's the right thing to do, but the timing is not there. It's interesting that olives that are not ripe are called rishei zaysin. Russian means wicked. It's not ripe. It's not yet the time. Timing is everything too. And so when they said b'chatzos hayom, it means that they only saw half the picture. They weren't willing to take a step back and see a fuller picture. And that's a lack of emunah. When emunah says, there's a bigger picture that I may not be aware of. It's only half a day late. Maybe there's a bigger picture here, right? And that's what they have to give a machzis hashekel, a half a coin, to remind themselves, you know what? Sometimes we only see half the picture. And take a step back. Don't automatically conclude Moshe's not here. Everything's wrong. Wait, maybe only seeing half the picture. So that's certainly true, and that's something that they were mistaken in that when they, again, in their panic and everything else, they went for this halfway situation, and Moshe was delayed a little bit. That's true. Speaking of delays, I'm going to tell you an interesting story that about being late. Being late. So I don't know, by Hasidim, they daven sometimes later in the day than very early morning. But the reason for that is they really should be preparing for davening. And according to many, the preparation is part of davening itself. Anyway, this one chassid came very late to davening, pretty repeatedly. And so someone called him on it. He said, hey, but the Rebbe also does. I think it was the original Rebbe. Comes late too. He said, well, you're making a mistake. He said, you're making mistakes. What do you mean making a mistake? I know what's happened. He says, okay, let me tell you. Imagine if you have a newlywed couple, right? And they first get married. Just want to make sure it's not my wife. Okay, no. I just have my daughter ended up going back to the hospital again, so I was on the way back to New York. So anyway, I want to make sure that her. Anyway, okay. Hope she should be well. So,
Amen.
Thank you. So, he said, imagine a couple, they get married, yeah? And first night they come home, he comes home from work, he's very excited, waiting for dinner. She says he likes to have dinner at 6:30. She comes out of the kitchen, 6:30, nice dinner, chicken and peas. Okay, good. That's Sunday night, Monday night rather. Tuesday night he comes home, 6:30, she's on the button, chicken and peas. Wednesday night, 6:30, out again, chicken and peas. Every day, chicken and peas, 6:30, chicken and peas. He's really getting frustrated, but he doesn't want to say anything. Anyway, 2 weeks into this, he comes home at 6:30, he sits at the table, she's still in the kitchen. 6:45 already. Now he's dreaming. Maybe it's going to be roast beef. Oh, good. 7 o'clock, still not out of the kitchen. Oh, maybe there's a kugel coming out there also, right? 7:15, still. Boston cream pie. He imagines his whole incredible dinner. She comes out at 7:30 with chicken and peas. He gets really upset. She says, why are you upset? I give you it every night. He says, it's true. But you give me every night, it's one thing. But you keep me waiting. And now I have this expectation of something better. And it's still chicken and peas. That's the problem. He says, when you daven every day at 6:30, when you daven, and you deliver your davening is chicken and peas variety, okay. But if you keep a Kadosh Baruch Hu waiting, and he's expecting a better davening, and you still come up with the same chicken and peas davening, you got problems. When the Rebbe is keeping him waiting, he's coming up with a better davening. But if you keep a Kadosh Baruch Hu waiting, it better be for something good. You understand? Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu kept the Bnei Yisrael waiting, and they panicked. Okay, so let's go back. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. I'm going to go to the end of the Parsha, and then we'll come back to the middle. Actually, let me do one more thing about the Chet Egel. Another way of understanding the sin of the golden calf is very critical, and we'll see it later on in Vayakal Pekudei as well. And that is that they weren't off in their thinking. In other words, they said they knew there's a Mishkan, and the Mishkan has different kelim, and the Menorah brings down Hashem Shechina, and the Mizbeach brings down Hashem Shechina, and the Shulchan brings down Parnasa, and every physical keli somehow becomes a vehicle and a vessel to bring down some shefa, some flow of ruchnius into this world. So they wanted to create an egel that will bring the flow of Shem in this world. Till they have Moshe Rabbeinu, they looking for...
Excuse me, now, this happened after dedication of Mishkan or before?
So there's a big machlokes whether the Mishkan was before the Chet Egel or after the Chet Egel, and we'll talk about that later on, all right? That's a good point. And there's obviously a reason for both, and there's an element in both. So the big question, what was the Mishkan, before or after the Chet Egel? Good question. So, anyway, so they weren't wrong. They said, Al Pi Kabbalah, but in a certain mystical way, they were going to bring in, that Egel was going to bring down Ruchnis in the world. Yet, Hashem deemed it Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah. Why? Very simple. There are many ways to plug into spirituality. But Hashem gave us a Torah and says, this is the way you should plug into spirituality. Anything other than this is wrong. It's Avodah Zarah. Today you see people in pursuit of spirituality try different venues. And maybe they're connecting some way spiritually. But that's not our path. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, your path is the Torah path, through mitzvahs. Right? Anything else, you can't create your own spiritual world. And your own way of getting that spiritual world, even if you're well-intended. Let's give, I don't know, the different movements, reform, because give them the benefit of that, which I'm not prepared, but let's give them the benefit, and they mean it for the right reasons. They really want to get closer spiritually. You still can't do that because that's not the venue Hashem said. Hashem says through Torah mitzvahs, you can't make more mitzvahs, you can't subtract mitzvahs. Here, Bnei Yisrael were guilty of adding another mitzvah, so to speak. They were adding another way of getting close to Hashem that was not prescribed by Hashem. So a very keli, a menorah is kedusha, an egel, avodah zarah. Even though they're both accomplishing the same thing, one is allowed by Hashem, one is not allowed by Hashem. Why Hashem doesn't allow the egel? Different story. But we can't create our own mechanisms to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu. We can't add mitzvahs. Let's say I says, there's 613. I have another great mitzvah I want to add, 614, and it's only get close to Hashem. And it really works spiritually. Guess what? You can't do it. The Torah says, you can't add or subtract. When the Torah says you can't add or subtract, it doesn't say, listen, it's fascinating. It says, lishmar derech Hashem. I think it's Lashon. It doesn't say may lishmar. It's interesting. It says, don't add or subtract. Now you might think a guy's adding, subtracting to get away from the Torah. Then it would say made lishmar. Don't add or subtract from observing the Torah. Just don't add or subtract lishmar. Don't even add and subtract if that's your way of connecting to Hashem. Doesn't say made lishmar. Made lishmar would mean don't add or subtract in a way that takes away from your serving Hashem. Doesn't say that. It says lo yosifo v'lo yisigru. Don't add or subtract lishmar. Even if your intention is to guard it, to follow the Torah, you still can't do that. So we can't create new mechanisms. And that, by the way, is the reason why, in the outset, I say people are very nervous, and in Judaism, we're always nervous about new movements. Baal Shem Tov came on the scene in Hasidus, but even before that, Baal Shem Tov, we know he met with tremendous opposition. Why? Because they anticipated that he's going to involve and bring new ideas to get to Yiddishkeit. You can't do that. Now, at the end, we see in retrospect, he was not a reformer, the Baal Shem Tov, he was a restorer. He didn't reform it, he restored things that were losing their luster, things that people were forgetting. He emphasized, you're Hashem's children, you're all royalty. He emphasized the Simcha Shabo, he emphasized that, right? But he didn't add anything new. But they were nervous, they would do that. Even if it was L'Shem Shemayim, you can't do that. So throughout history, we always have a skeptical eye to anything that seems to be new. And then the only way that we accept it is over time, if it seems to produce the right results. How can you tell if something is the right way in Torah and the wrong way in Torah? Because we always have like new wrinkles, whether it's Hasidus, whether it's Musar, whatever you're going to call it, right? Time. The passage of time tells us is this true or not. If it's true, it has staying power. If it doesn't have staying power. You know, beginning when Reform came, people say, oh, this is the new great Torah, it's great. Look what's going on in Reform today. It's falling apart, it seems. Conservative, great, unbelievable. It's falling apart. You couldn't tell that right away. And it could be the founding fathers were really sincere. Reform was certainly not, but let's consider they were. Even if they were. You can't invent new ways to get to close to Hashem. That's ego. That's nothing less than an ego. Yes?
Aren't you giving the Jewish people a pass because it wasn't clear enough from the second commandment? You should have no other God, make graven images or have other gods before you?
That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to do. Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to defend the Jews. Now, listen what he says. He tells Bnei Hashem, please forgive the Jews. They sinned a chet gadolah. They sinned a great sin. Not about you. If I'm hiring a defense attorney, and I wanted to defend because I did something wrong, I hope he's not going to go to judge. Please let my client off the hook. He committed a terrible crime. What do you have in mind? What are you going to do that? You want to defend me, right? You try to say, no, it wasn't so bad. It's the first time. He says they sinned a chet gadol, a great sin. That's how you defend them. The word gadol means great, but also means profound. It was a deep and profound sin. Moshe is saying, Hashem, they weren't doing it to rebel against you. It was a profound sin. They wanted to somehow get closer to you. It was a very deep, profound sin. It was still wrong. Right? But know where it's coming from. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. It's called Avodah Zarah. So if people, even with best intention, say, I would add another mitzvah, or a new way of get close to Hashem. It might be totally, with best intentions. Can't do it.
The Jewish people continue to observe, fall back into idol worship for hundreds of years. Even to the first temple, they were worshiping idols and bringing idols into the temple.
That's what I was going to ask. What did they follow? Did the Egyptian, all of a sudden, subconsciously, they went to what the Egyptian used to?
No. In fact, Chazal tells us actually they had this name, the Shem of Hashem, on a piece of paper that they threw into this melted gold, and they used Kabbalah.
Thinking cow.
What?
By the thinking and
Kodesh Hashem, right?
This cow was in.
Actually, hold on. I think this was Erev Rav. Has nothing to do with Am Yisrael.
Slow down. Okay, good. So the Erev Rav, that mixed multitude that that came with the Jewish people that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to bring, Hashem said not a great idea. Moshe Rabbeinu said we'll bring them. Okay. So now there are many Mefarshim saying that you use the word Am. When you use the word Am, it doesn't mean Bnei Yisrael. It means the Erev Rav. And it's true. Hashem told Moshe, Lech Reid Kishiches Amcha. Now, what is it called? What do you mean, your nation? It's like, when parents, when they get upset at a kid, look what your kid did, right? Not my kid, it's your kid, right? What does Hashem say? Lech Reid Kishiches Amcha? What are your nation? It's not your nation, Hashem? No, it's Moshe's nation, because it's the Erev Rav that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to bring out. So Hashem says, Lech Reid Kishiches Amcha. Your nation is messing up. It's true. So the Erev Rav were the ones that really got into the Avodah Zarah. The other Jews, it wasn't Avodah Zarah. For them, it was like I just said, it was more the Sruchnis thing. So, in fact, the proof is 3,000 Jews were killed. 3,000 Jews. That's not a whole lot. I mean, it's a lot of Jews. But percentage-wise, let's say there are 3 million Jews, to keep the math easy. 3 million Jews at Har Sinai. 3,000 out of 3 million is 1/10 of 1%. 1/10 of 1%. It's not a lot. Those are the ones that did Avodah Zarah. Everybody else, or a good chunk, they got sucked into this Chet Gedolah. All right? But Erev Rav certainly started it, but their intention was not like everybody else's intention. That was real Avodah Zarah. That's why they were killed. All right? There's a beautiful story which I think I've mentioned, but it's worth repeating again, from Rabbi Schwab, and it's a very poignant story. When Moshe Rabbeinu comes down after the Chet Egel, and he needs to really get the people back on his side, so he says, Mila Shemelai, he says, and Levi, Shevi Levi steps up to the plate, and they say, we're going to join you to defend Hashem's honor. So, it's a famous story, the Chavetz Chaim, which I heard from Rabbi Schwab himself. In fact, I've had it taped someplace. It's been written, but I heard it from him, that when he was a young boy, he got to see the Chavetz Chaim. And he says over a number of conversations he had with the Chavetz Chaim, but this is one of them. The Chavetz Chaim asked him, are you a Kohen? He said, no. He said, I'm a Kohen. The Chavetz Chaim was a Kohen. He says, okay. He says, is your father a Kohen? No. Well, my father was a Kohen. Kind of strange. Is your grandfather a Kohen? No. My grandfather was a Kohen. Now this is really bizarre. He says, you know something? When Mashiach comes and they rebuild the third Beis HaMikdash, as a Kohen, they're going to let me in to serve in the Beis HaMikdash, and they'll let me in, and they won't let you in. You know why? Because I'm a Kohen, and you're not. So he's like, what's going on over here? And then he says, and do you want to know why I'm a Kohen and you're not? He said, okay, yeah, I mean, I know, because my father's not a Kohen. Yeah, because your father's not a Kohen. Do you know why your father's not a Kohen? Because my grandfather's not a Kohen. Yeah, but you know why his great-grandfather wasn't a Kohen? He says, no. He says, because after the Chet Egel, when Moshe Rabbeinu said, Mila Hashem Elai, whoever wants to join the people, wants to defend Hashem's honor, join me, my great-great-grandfather joined, and yours didn't. He said, I want you to know, young man, there'll come a time in your life that you'll also hear an inner voice of Mila Hashem Elai. You'll also hear a voice where Hashem is challenging you. Are you willing to defend my honor? Are you willing to take a stand? If you do, you'll have children to show for it as well. But if you don't, they won't have it either. Beautiful story. The Mila Hashem Elai story is not just about what happened to Moshe Rabbeinu, but he said, I'm a Kohen today because my grandfather answered the call. He said, in everyone's life, there's going to be an opportunity for them to answer the call also. And if they do, they're going to have Derei Deris to prove that as well, generations. But if not, they won't. That was a story that the Rosh Rabbah told me. Very, very beautiful story. Okay, so at the end of the parsha, it says a very interesting parsha when Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and he has this karnei hod. He has the karnei or rather, the Rashi calls karnei hod. This light that shone from his face, this beaming light, and he had to actually put a cover over his face because it was so brilliant you couldn't even look at him. So where did it come from, this shine? So the Medrash says, you know where it came from? That Moshe Rabbeinu was writing Sefer Torah, he had extra ink left over, and the extra ink he kind of went like this over his forehead, and that shone on his face, and that's why he shone. It's a nice thing to tell a third grader. He'll shake his head, yeah, that sounds good. Get a little, you say, huh? What extra ink? Why do you have extra ink? Why does that lead to a shining face, right? What does that mean? So I want to share with you a couple of ideas. Number one, first of all, why would there be extra ink? Hashem doesn't make anything extra. What does it mean, extra ink? So one pshat is that when Moshe Rabbeinu said, Mecheni no mesifracha, right? When Hashem wanted to destroy the Jewish people after Chadegel, Moshe Rabbeinu said, excuse me, if they're going down, I'm going down too. I'm the captain of the ship. Mecheni no mesifracha, erase me from your book. That's why the last week's Parasha, the Safra, is on Moshe Rabbeinu's name, the only Parasha, right? Because Moshe Rabbeinu said, if they're not around, I don't want to be around. So since Hashem took away the name of Moshe Rabbeinu in the whole Parasha, there was the extra ink. The time that would said Moshe Rabbeinu a few times. And that extra ink represents his humility and his greatness. And that's what's shown from his face. Not the ink itself created the shine, but what the extra ink represents, his humility, his dedication. That's what's shown from his face. That's one idea of extra ink. By the way, as an aside, Moshe Rabbeinu was a great leader who's willing to say, Mechenin HaMasifracha. He was a great leader, like you said. He knew how to lead. Noach was faulted for not being a great leader because he didn't lead the generation. He wasn't able to influence them. In fact, the flood is called Mei Noach, the waters of Noach. It's a very dubious distinction. You have a flood named after you because he was seen to be indirectly at fault. Chazal tell us, not Chazal, it's brought down in Sfarim, that Moshe Rabbeinu was a Gilgul, a reincarnation of,
5 people.
but what was Noach? What was Noach? If Noach was a faulty leader, Moshe Rabbeinu had to be that great leader, to be Misakin. Isn't it interesting that it's called Mei Noach? Moshe Rabbeinu showed his leadership by saying Mecheni. Mecheni is the exact same letters as Mei Noach. Mei Noach and Mecheni the same letters. So Noach is called Mei Noach. Moshe Rabbeinu said Mecheni, that was a tikkun, that was a repair for Noach, who did not. Mei Noach, Moshe Rabbeinu was Mecheni. Okay, so
I thought, I'm sorry, was Cain Gilgura?
it's also
Also,
yes,
5
more
people.
than one.
5 people.
It's more than one. More than one. Yes. Okay, so let's go back. So the shine of his face came from the extra ink when he said Mechenina, and therefore there's extra ink because he didn't say Moshe Rabbeinu's name was not mentioned a few times. That's one idea. By the other idea why he said Mechenina is because Moshe Rabbeinu said, listen, I'm a leader of the Jewish people. And everything you wrote about me till now, the reason why I'm in the Torah for eternity is because of Klal Yisrael. If there's no Klal Yisrael, anything I did is insignificant. I don't deserve to be in the Torah. Everything that's in the Torah is only in the Torah because it has eternal ramifications. If there's no Jewish people, then there's no eternity. If there's no eternity, why am I being mentioned? So take me out. I don't belong in the Sefer Torah. The Torah only has Nitzchias. Sefer Torah only has eternity. If there's no Jewish people, there's no eternity. What do you want? Why am I there? Okay. But there's another reason why we have extra letters. What does that mean, extra letters? There's a part of the Torah that's never written. Called the fifth Shulchan Aruch. You know what the fifth Shulchan means? You know, we have 4 sections of Shulchan Aruch, right? One deals with monetary laws, one deals with Isser v'Heter, like, meat and milk. One deals with Gittin and Kedushin, right? So you have 4 Chalakim, right? One deals with daily life, Orach Chaim, Mishabur, or there, okay? What's the 5th Chalik? It doesn't exist. The 5th Chalik is the part of Torah that's not written down. I'm not going to call it common sense, I'm going to call it Torah sense. Meaning, after you learn all 4 Chalakim, you're able to understand things that even the Torah didn't write it down, you know it's wrong. That's the 5th Chalik. Let me give you an example. It's a bad example. I don't know, bad example. Somebody once approached Ron Kotler and said, I'm going to ask you a question. Is it better for somebody who's not religious to marry a non-Jew or a Jew? I said, what do you mean? He said, because the laws of Nida only apply to a Jew, a Jewish woman. A non-Jewish woman, there's no laws of Nida. So if he's not Jewish, maybe he's better off marrying a non-Jewish woman. If he's not religious, rather, maybe he's better off marrying a non-Jewish woman so he won't violate Nida every single day. Whereas if he marries somebody Jewish, then there's Nida problems. Interesting question. So Rav Kotler supposedly said, Abinit the guy, of course he has to marry Jewish. Now, that seems, if you look at just halacha by itself, you'd say, well, it doesn't add up. But that's the 5th Shulchan Aruch that says, no. No matter what, still better marry Jewish, right? But that requires a fitness. I'm not going to call it common sense, I'm going to call it Torah sense. That once you have all the 4 Chalakim of Torah, you're able to develop what we call Das Torah. Today, when you ask a Gadol advice, he takes all the Torah that he knows, and he comes up with something that's based on that Torah, but it's not written in the Torah itself. We call it Das Torah. It's very important to understand that concept called Das Torah. That a Gadol has the fanem, he has the big cook, that big look, based on the Torah. That's the part of Torah that's not written down. That's for us to develop. That's for us. Hashem left it out for us. Hashem says, I want you to grow. Torah Shabbat Peh is also not written down. All the Divrei Chachamim, the Rabbanans, even Moshe Rabbeinu, when he broke the Luchos, and Hashem said, Yasher Koach Asher Shibarta. It's right, you did the right thing by breaking it. That's not written down in Torah. That's something Moshe Rabbeinu understood on his own. That's the part that's not written. And that's the part that shines from a person's face. What's special is when a person is able to develop from the halachas to become his own Torah. Somebody once asked, a doctor once came to the Chazon Ish and asked the Chazon Ish, What's the difference between a big Rav and a little Rav? So Chazon said, let me ask you, you're a doctor. What's the difference between a big doctor and a little doctor? He said, I don't know. He said, I'll tell you. A little doctor studies the medical journals. A big doctor, what he says, is the medical journals. A little Rav learns the Shulchan Aruch. A big Rav, what he says, becomes the Shulchan Aruch. In a sense, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu, that extra ink means the part of Torah that we write. When we learn Torah and we're able to apply it to our lives, that's the part of Torah that Hashem's leave over for us. And that's the shine that came from Moshe Rabbeinu's face. The Moral has an interesting idea behind the shine of the face. And he says like this, he says, if you put, let's say, water in a metal container, but the metal is a soft metal. If you keep putting it, eventually it's going to bulge, right? Moshe Rabbeinu's ruchnis was so great, it started bulging and coming out of him. The shine that came from his face was the bulging ruchnis that his physical keli body couldn't contain. But there's a deeper idea. Moshe Rabbeinu, he defends the Jewish people, right? Defends the Jewish people. And he says, they're good. It was a profound sin. They're really good. And Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching us a very important lesson. How do we look, and we mentioned this once before, how do we look at people? Are they inherently good with bad parts to them? Or are they inherently evil and they can do some good things? Now the Christians say man is inherently evil and doomed to failure. Right? That's it. Inherently evil. We say no. A person is inherently good. Of course I say it's a horror, but he's inherently good. Moshe Rabbeinu saw the good in Bnei Yisrael. We call it Dan L'Kav Zchut, to judge somebody favorably. But on a philosophical, if I ask you, why should you judge somebody favorably? Why? So, after Akamocha, love you Jews, if you love yourself, you love yourself, and you give yourself the benefit of the doubt, so why shouldn't you give somebody else the benefit of the doubt? True. But on a philosophical level, you know why you give them the benefit of the doubt? Because you have to see that every person is be'etzem good. It says, have you done as kol ha'adam l'kav zchus? Now the word kol can mean every or all. So it can mean judge every person favorably, or judge the whole person favorably, meaning look at the whole person. So he has things that are flawed, but look at the whole person. There really is greatness to that person. Moshe Rabbeinu said, look at Klal Yisrael, there's greatness to them. And even the sin was a profound sin. And because he saw the greatness in the Bnei Yisrael, Hashem, therefore, rather the light shown from his face means, Moshe is saying there's light in every person, you just can't see it. Because Moshe Rabbeinu said, I see the light in every single person. Therefore that light shone from his face as well. Kedush Levi, this is not quite the same. The famous Padishva Rebbe, Chassidish Rebbe that I always quote, that always said the good about the Jewish people. He always, no matter what the Jews did, right? The famous, I told you many stories. One of the stories is classic. He goes outside after davening. He sees this point. This guy in the middle of davening goes out with his towels and starts greasing the wheels of his carriage. He says, look, Hashem, even when Jews are greasing their wheels, they wear the towels and tefillin, right? He said the other way around, right? The other way around. So he once said to Hashem, okay, the Jews have sinned. It's true. You got anything better? You got a people that's any better, right? The bottom line is, look at us. He's saying, look, this. He said in Yiddish, Hoshain Besa. You have anything better, right? But he saw that Kedush Levi certainly did that. But that's what Moshe Rabbeinu said. That etzem they're good, and even the sin was a chet gedolah. And so that's when Moshe Rabbeinu was zeicher to that karei hoid, that shone from his face, is that because he saw the light in every person, and therefore Hashem gave him that thing. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu was not even aware of that light. Someone had to make him aware of it. It's not unusual that people that are very special are not even aware of how special they are. Because they think it's so natural. Like, do you think like, wow, I have a right arm, I'm special? No, because that makes sense, right? Things that are you so naturally think that are something you need to be. You don't see it as a specialness. Sometimes the real special people, those people don't even realize they're special. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't even see he was special, that he had that light. Because that's the real sign of real special persons. They don't even recognize their specialness. That's the biggest sign that they're special. So that was Moshe Rabbeinu, defends the Jewish people, the Chet Egel, which has ramifications forever. And I will say something else. One last thing about the Chet Egel. It's a very deep idea. I really shouldn't leave it for the last 2 minutes, but I'll say it anyway. And that is that you asked about the Erev Rav and everything else, and we asked how they sinned. There's an interesting concept. that we talked about many times, you know, Bechira, free will, does not mean that you get to choose results. Results are totally out of your hand. You get to choose what path you want to go. Results totally. Let's say I say, I want to go visit somebody who's sick today. I want to get a mitzvah. So I get in my car and I have a flat. So I can't go. I have free will. Free will just as you made the choice to go visit somebody. Results, let's say Hashem says, you don't deserve the mitzvah. Or maybe you shouldn't be visited. Whatever reason is. Free will does not guarantee results. Only the choices that we make. And sometimes the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, well, let me say it this way. Everyone knows the question, free will versus Hashem knows everything. How does that work? Right? Famous kasha. Rambam says we can't even wrap our heads around that. It's too hard for us. So the example I think I've used with you in the past is the best, simplest way, rather, of explaining it is if you're playing chess against a master chess player. These Russian masters, they know boards by heart, right? And you're a rookie chess player. Do you have free will to move your piece wherever you want? Absolutely. But is that master chess player going to take every one of your moves and turn that into checkmate? Yeah. So you have control of the choice you make, but he can somehow manipulate the board to get checkmate. Same thing, Kadosh Baruch Hu. You can move your piece wherever you want. Hashem will get checkmate. All right? So here also the same thing. When Bnei Yisrael chose to go on a certain path, and that path was they saw the Egel as a spiritual opportunity. It was wrong. Hashem fanned the flames of the choice they made to end up much worse. Chazal say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed Bnei Yisrael to sin to teach to the Jewish people tshuva l'rabim. That tshuva l'rabim. Like David HaMelech sinned for Yachid to teach tshuva for the Yachid. Now what does that mean? Did Bnei Yisrael do it or not? Yeah, Bnei Yisrael made that first little choice. Yehuda and Tamar. Right? How did that happen, Yehuda and Tamar? It's hard to understand, right? Teretz says, Yehuda just made that first little step. He thought, could I do this? Should I do this? So, okay, that's enough. That's your sin. Now I'm going to take that choice and blow it up to my results. You're responsible for that first choice. Everything else, I'm doing. Okay? Yosef and the brothers. Yosef, the brothers sold Yosef. They had a little bit of kinna, inappropriate kinna. That was their choice. That's what they're responsible for. Hashem now blows up that kinna beyond their control to get the result that he wants, which is that Yosef gets out the mitzvah. So there's, in a way, let's call it limited bechira. Your bechira is limited to your first choice sometimes, and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take that choice and then manipulate or blow it up for the result he wants. So over here also, the Chet Egel. It was that first inclination that was wrong, and Hashem blew it up in a way that perhaps they didn't even anticipate. Right? That's the deeper understanding of what took place over here as well.
But that also, I mean, you could say that Hashem takes it and expands on it. The fact is, if a human being is tempted and they take the first step, they're already in big trouble all on their own.
Yes.
On their own, they're in
Yes.
trouble.
Yes.
Once you take that step and you get close enough to the fire, you're going to get burned.
Somebody once said, God, you need not lead me to temptation. I can find it myself, right? Okay. So that's really what's going on over here. They took the first step. Absolutely right. Okay, we're gonna have to stop here, and then but I think we covered most of the Chet Egel. We covered the Masva as well. Okay, very good. All right, we'll stop here. We'll pick it up next week.